Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 9, The Yoga of Royal Knowledge and Royal Secret. This is supposed to be one of the most important chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord reveals the royal secret, which is divinity is your essential nature. Your essential nature is divinity. The spiritual science enunciated in this chapter is the science of the self, the deepest essence in every individual, knowing which he can be freed from the cycle of samsara and attain the Lord. It should be remembered that throughout the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord represents the higher self, the awareness or the life principle which is there in each one of us, while Arjuna represents the common, confused, shattered human being that we are at most of the times, and who has become so because of his internal maladjustments. The Lord says that the entire world is pervaded by him, the higher self, the awareness, the unmanifested being. All objects exist in him. He is the source and support of everything. That is, he pervades everything. But he does not dwell in them, just as all the waves are contained in the ocean, but the ocean is not contained in the waves. As the mighty wind moving everywhere rests in space, all beings rest in him. This absolute reality is all inclusive. Vishwato Mukham, the sacrifice, the worship, the ancestral offerings, the father, mother, grandsire, sustainer, the syllable Om, the four Vedas, the goal, support, refuge, friend of all, the heat, the rain, mortality and immortality, and the substratum of the entire universe. This eternal Brahman, functioning through the total mind, is the God principle, the creator. And the same Brahman, functioning through the limited individual mind and intellect, is the individual self, the mortal ego. The same sun gets reflected in the clear, still waters of a vast lake and in the disturbed, muddy pool in different ways. Similarly, the difference of the same God principle in different beings. Thus, the Lord is the vital, animating reality behind the Creator and also behind the created. At the end of the cosmic cycle or the pralaya, all beings resolve into nature, prakriti, which is also his own, and at the beginning of a new one, that is kalpa, get projected. However, these activities do not bind him, as he remains detached. No attachment or aversion, and his actions are neither egocentric nor desire motivated. He is only a sakshi or a witness. Unfortunately, foolish men do not understand his true essence, and mistaking the idol for reality, they become deluded, resulting in fanaticism. But great souls seek the immortal by realizing the self through single-pointed self-application. They worship the ultimate reality through a steadfast, continuous way, filled with devotion, always performing selfless activities in a spirit of yajna. Those seekers well versed in the Vedas and rituals perform sacred acts of devotion and sacrifice with a desire to enjoy celestial bliss. They will certainly get their wish and enjoy the pleasures of heaven. But after the credit of their merits has been exhausted, they will continue again the cycle of births and deaths. But those who just love and serve the Lord without any selfish desire or motive, even for salvation, they will merge and become one with Him. Though external worship is needed in the initial stages, as a beginner needs some object of worship, it is to be remembered that it is only symbolic. The true and highest form of worship is the total offering of oneself, one's possessions, one's actions, even the sense of agency. I am doing this. Neither does true worship have to be an elaborate or expensive affair. The Lord clarifies that even a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or just water will suffice. What a great declaration. Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam. Anything, whatever is offered with great love and devotion, is what is needed for the Lord. The inner mental attitude is more important. Whatever you do, each act that you perform, do it as an offering to the divine with love and dedication. This is an unparalleled statement. In this way, all our actions can become offerings to the divine, and life itself becomes a sanctified, noble one. The Lord assures that such men will be freed from the bonds of actions and shall attain Him. Real bhakti is practiced through constant remembrance and contemplation of Him. This will ensure that everyone, irrespective of class, color, sex, even sinners, will attain God realization. Thus, the Lord's sovereign secret is: fix your mind on me, that is, that immutable self, be devoted to me, sacrifice to me, bow to me, and having thus united your whole self with me, taking me as your supreme goal, you shall come to me. Now please remember that this me is not the arrogant bragging of the mortal Krishna. This is a truly unparalleled declaration of divinity. Thus ends the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, entitled Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yogam, or the Yoga of the Sovereign Science and Sovereign Secret. Hari Om Tat Sat.